What's the trip outside report there, Kat? 2 squirrels.
Wet.
Rain, rain, rain. Couple of birds. Recording is active.
Recording?
Actively recording. Peaks and pops.
Sips and bites. Wait, no.
Chomps and chews. Hey, dear listener. Thanks for coming by. It's been a while. I know it's been a while. If you're listening to this in 3 or 4 years from now, it will not have been a while because you've probably just rolled over from the last episode.
Right, just binging us.
Yeah, here in the present right now, it's been a few weeks. We've been gone, but we're back. We've been in Reno, Nevada, visiting some family there. Not gambling, not losing all of our money. We are smarter than that. We save that for Vegas, for trying to get that guy on the street with the 3-card Monty, and getting his money.
Paul was very, very certain that he knew where the queen was. I said, "No, Paul, you definitely don't. You definitely do not know where the queen is."
I had him. Look, man, he had such good odds that all I had to do was just $50. I would have got that money back. I'm sure of it. So what we have here for episode 10 is a nice little theme that we like to call anything you can do.
I can do better.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. How far are we going to take that? Because I know more of it.
That's all I know. That's it.
Fair.
And all I know from that is from a commercial or something I used to see.
That song is from Annie Get Your Gun, which was the very first play that I was in middle school. We have
a picture of that in a frame down in the basement.
That's why we have that.
That's excellent. There you go. So now, dear listener, you now know a little bit more about the layout of our house. Please.
There's that basement.
Please do not heist us now that you know the layout. So what we have here is games that involve more or less climbing. I play something, you play something better, and then I play something better until finally someone has to pass. We have Haggis. We have a game called Kompromat. We have Schotten Totten. And then we also have Lost Cities, which I mention only because, as you'll hear, we feel that Schotten Totten is kind of this blend of Haggis and Lost Cities. And if we were going to mention Lost Cities, it's literally just sitting there on our shelf, being like, hey, why'd you play us? You haven't played us in a while. So we figured we'd just throw it in here, throw it a bone, and include it in our little 2-player climbing episode. So that's it. I think we're gonna get the ladder. We're gonna climb on up to the top, to the roof up here,
stepping on each other all the way as we do.
We're gonna spread our wings, and we are going to launch ourselves right into our first segment. So here we go. Previously on Two Most Difficult.
Listen here, laddie. The dwarves that came before us, they dug deep.
Well, Laura, I think I have an apology to make.
I'm prepared to receive your apology.
Not to you.
Oh.
I don't.
It's never to me.
It's because I never do anything wrong to you. It is to all of the Scottish people. Apparently, when you don't put enough time and effort with your dialect coach into your Scottish accent,
or any,
it can offend certain people. And so what I would like to do now is I'd like to take this moment to apologize to all of those who may have been offended by my actions.
You mean your accents?
There we go. That was my fully sincere apology. There will be no further attempts at any kind of Scottish accent as we discuss the next game here on our table, which is Haggis.
Now, I have to say, the fact that you are resisting the accent when the box is literally plaid.
It looks like a kilt on a box.
It does.
Yeah. Haggis.
It's impressive.
By Sean Ross from Indie Boards and Cards. Let's start by talking about what it is.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Haggis is a trick-taking game.
Trick-taking game. Man, these are starting to fill up our shelves here.
They don't take up that much space.
They don't take up that, yeah. But they're starting to fill up the game list. This is a trick-taking game, but it's kind of a weird, different genre of trick-taking game. Most of the time when we think of a trick-taking game, we think of suits and trumps and that kind of stuff.
Everyone plays one card and it goes around.
Yeah. This is more of a climbing game.
Yeah. Everyone plays a set of cards.
Yeah.
And by everyone, I mean we play it as a 2-player game.
It is a 2-player game.
Has a 3-player version, but we haven't tried that.
But it's really, I feel like it's meant for 2 players.
So mostly it's a back and forth.
Yeah.
Of trying to one up the other's play.
Yeah.
Kind of like war, I suppose, in that way.
Yeah, it's a climbing game where I play something and then you try to play it better. And then I try to play it better. And then you try to play it better until someone can't play it better. And then that person has won the trick. And then that person leads the next trick. And you go back and forth until someone
goes out.
Till someone goes out.
So someone uses all their cards. So there are 4 suits when you play with 2 players. There's a 5th suit if you play with 3.
Yep. Banish it to the box to never be used.
2 through 10 plus Jack, Queen, King.
Yep.
And at the beginning of each round, you will be dealt how many of those cards? 16?
14.
14. It's a bunch.
Yeah.
It's a big old hand.
Yep.
Both players will get 14 cards and the other
8
Yep. Are the
Haggis. I did it. I did it without getting Scottish.
I have a feeling that you're going to say that word a couple more times tonight.
I'm going to try. Little beads of sweat are forming on my forehead right now, but we're going to get through this.
So in your hand,
yeah,
you have this entire set of cards to work with. You will not be replenishing them.
Nope.
You basically need to assess from the get-go kind of what you're looking at there.
Yep, you're going to have a whole bunch of 2s through 10s in your hand in different in those different suits.
Oh, true. The Jack, Queen, King are in front of you.
They're in front of you, but they still count as part of your hand, which will be important later. Yeah.
Let's talk about the kinds of things that you can play.
Okay. Single cards. I start with a 2. That means you got to play a single card. Maybe you got to play something higher. We could do pairs, trips. You could do all 4 if you want. You could do 4 8s. You could just lay down 4 8s.
So 1 of a kind, 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind. What else?
You've got sequences. You could 2, 3, 4.
Got to be the same suit though.
Same suit.
Yep.
2, 3, 4, same suit. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, same suit. You could do sequences and pairs. They have to be those same suits though. So like 2, 3, 4 in one suit, and then 2, 3, 4 in another suit together. Right there on the table. Probably not getting countered. Probably not getting climbed up on. That's a good play. Playing a double sequence like that. It's pretty good. Never done it, but I'm sure it is. It'll feel great if I ever do it.
I think I did that one of these games.
I'm sure you did.
So all of these swirling possibilities greet you when you first look at these 14 cards in your hand.
Yeah.
What am I looking at? Am I looking at several sets of pairs? Am I looking at a couple of different runs of different lengths? And then, as Paul mentioned earlier, the gameplay is one person leading with one of those many kinds of things.
Yeah. And
the other person following, if possible, with that same category of things, but better. So if it's singles or doubles or triples, it's all pretty straightforward. You know, I've got 2 of a kind of 2s, and you've got
2 of a kind of 8s.
Then and then I come back and, oh no, 2 of a kind of 10s. Whew, that's the highest number. Paul can't possibly take this hand. But then
I'll drop the bomb.
That's the other thing.
The bomb. So here's the thing about the bomb. The bomb is most of the time going to be played as the result of 2 of these 3 face cards that we mentioned earlier that you have laid out in front of you. A jack, a queen, and a king. The jack, the queen, and the king are wild, so you can put them with a 10 to make a pair of 10s. You could put 2 of them with a 10 to make 3 10s. You could stick one in the middle of a sequence. 2, 3, jack, 6, 7, 8, and now you've got yourself a sequence.
I think you skipped some more numbers there.
Let's try that again. 2, 3, jack, queen, 6, 7, 8.
Nope. One more.
One more time.
Why don't you reduce the number that you start in with again?
Because you could have 2, 3, jack, queen, 6, 7, 8.
There you
did it. But that's the one use for these face cards, is that they can be wild cards. What you can't do is lay 3 of them down and call that a sequence. That's just not going to work, because when you play 2 of these wild cards together, maybe a jack and a queen, or a queen and a king, or the jack and the king, that's a bomb. And a bomb means that you win the trick. You flat out win the trick. Unless someone bombs you with something better. There's even a hierarchy of bombs.
Yep.
There's jack and queen, but then there's queen king. That'll beat jack queen bomb.
There's jack queen king.
Yeah. There's just so many bombs. But the point is, you bomb something that you can't beat, and that's fine, because it means that you get to keep the lead, so you can keep your momentum going. The catch is, if you bomb something, those cards go to the other player. And that's important, because some of these cards, the odd ones specifically, 3, 5, 7, 9, all are worth 1 point each. And then the face cards, these wild cards, are worth
2, 3, or 5.
2, 3, and 5. And that matters because once everything is done and the dust is settled and the smoke is cleared, someone will have gone out first. And that is the end of the round. And that's where big thunderous bagpipes play. Because if you're left with cards in your hand when someone goes out, those cards are going to be worth mega points to the player who did go out. So the idea is that you want to clear your hand as fast as possible. Even if you don't think you're going to go out, you still want to clear your hand, because you don't just want to give those points to your opponent. Additionally, there is a bet that can be made. At the top of the round, before you've played any cards at all, you can make a small bet of 15 points, or you make a big bet of 30 points, saying, I think I'm going to go out first. I'm never confident enough to use that. I think I may have done it once, but those are going to be all the places you get points. You get points from cards that you've captured during normal gameplay. Oh, I won this trick. I'm going to take all those cards, put them in my little scoring pile.
And both players will get to score the cards that they have taken, even the loser.
Yeah, there's no like only the winner scores kind of thing going on here. So both players will get to score the cards that they captured during gameplay. Then the person who went out gets to score 5 points for every card in their opponent's hand at the time they went out, including those wild cards that are face up on the table. Because like I said, those are part of your hand. And then also you get to reach over and take the Haggis. You get to open up the Haggis and look inside and score any points for cards that are inside the Haggis. And then those bets, 15 or 30. And you can get a lot of points here when that happens. If you go out early and someone has like 6 cards in their hand, that's some big points. So you play until 250 points for the short game, 350 for the long game, 1,000 if you are, on a 12-hour flight and have nothing better to do. Maybe you've seen everything that the in-flight entertainment has to offer. You've watched, Avengers Endgame 3 times already. And
you feel like strangling your partner.
Yeah. But that's it. It's a climbing game, 2-player climbing game. It plays quick. I think we can get through a game in, easily 20 minutes if we really just, are hustling. And that's it. Doesn't take up a lot of table space. Comes in a nice little tiny box. What do you think about it? Why don't we say what I think about it first? Give you a chance to kind of choke down those feelings.
Maybe we should end on a positive note. Maybe I should just start now.
Okay, go for it.
I really don't like this game. And I like trick-taking games.
I know you do. You're good at them.
Oh, boy. And I like Teach You.
Yeah.
This game, I think where it loses me is the just infinite possibilities you are presented with when you first get your hand. And I will say, I was terrible at it, like literally could not win a hand initially until
those
Paul,
were good times. I like that.
Until Paul said, how do you sort your cards there? And I was sorting by suit. He's like, try sorting by number. And I did, and that really opened up a new door for me. It made it a little bit easier to see the possibilities, but there's just so much. I don't understand how anybody could look at this and think, oh, I'm definitely going to go out first. Unless you have some kind of magical hand that's like, you're looking at 2 moves and you can lay everything down. But it's so unpredictable when your opponent's going to bomb, and therefore you'll lose control. If you have a plan, the plan goes out the door as soon as you lose control. Because then you have to start looking at your own cards the way that your partner is looking at their cards. So maybe I was looking at my cards as a bunch of runs, and all of a sudden you start pulling out triple things. I'm like, well, shoot. I wasn't looking at triples. I was looking at these runs. And now I'm going to mess up all my runs.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want messed up runs, I'll tell you. So I have a few things to take from that. First off, love the impression of me. Very good. Like nice high-pitched voice, kind of a little bit of, that's pretty good. I like that. Two, I absolutely adore that you continually refer to your opponent as your partner, because that's what we are. We're partners in this together, and we play these games, and even though one of us is beating the other handily, we're still partners. We're all partners in this endeavor. Number three is I'm over here laughing because I had mentioned this to you earlier. You are what I would describe as a very chill person. You don't really have super strong opinions about things, specifically things you don't like. You love the things you love, but the things you don't like, at best, you'll get like I don't really care for it. This game had you so mad, so mad until I gave you that tip. I came over to you and I went, just like you said. It was
just like that.
And then you started winning. And my dear, it went from like 150 points on my end to like 30 points on your end. And by the time we were done with this most recent game, it was literally 222 to 223.
It was neck and neck. But that didn't make me like it any better. That's the thing.
Fine.
So,
that's fine.
Okay, dear listener, if you are the kind of person who, A, is a little bit naturally good at games, and B, really likes to have some kind of a plan going into a game, then this game is just not for you.
Yeah.
It is, it's just so full of possibility in a way that I find overwhelming and discouraging.
There's a quote that comes to mind here. A great figure in sports, diplomatic presence, very even-handed individual. You might know him by the name of Mike Tyson. And he has a quote which is, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. That is exactly how I feel about this game, and I kind of like it. I kind of think it's fun to think you have a plan, and then it just gets blown away after the first two tricks, and then you just how am I going to cobble this together? Because you feel like a cardmancer when you pull it off. I like it, but I respect that you don't. I respect why you don't. And look, if I'm going to play a 2-player game with my better half, I'm going to play a game that she likes, or that at least where the average amount of like is not where it is because one of us loves it and the other one hates it. I'd rather have some more of an even measurement here of how much we like the game. I think we'll keep it around until it's time to clear off the shelf, because maybe I can find someone who would like this copy of the game. I'd hate to just like throw it away, specifically because you can't buy it anymore. So if this game sounds great, dear listener, if you think you would like it, unfortunately, you can't really buy it anymore. I did a little research. The developer, Sean Ross, doesn't seem bothered by that. He literally said a couple of years ago, I've been meaning to get a new publisher for the game, but I've had other more important priorities. So we're going to clue you in, dear listener, on a little secret on how you can get your hands on this game if you can't find it for a reasonable price. And let me tell you, $75 on eBay, not a reasonable price.
4 suits.
Yeah.
2 through 10 plus Jack, Queen, King.
Okay, all right, got it.
What is that?
What do they make? Do they make things like that? Oh, here's what we're going to do. You're going to get on an airplane. You're going to buy a plane ticket. No, you're going to do it in the other order. You're going to buy a plane ticket. Then you're going to get on the airplane. You're going to go to Las Vegas, and you're going to break into the Stratosphere Casino under cover of night, and you're going to lift out one of those boxes of things that they use at the blackjack table. What are they?
Security
Poker
cameras.
Chips. No. Cards. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get yourself a packet of cards. Maybe there's a cheaper way to get yourself a pack of cards. And then if you want to play a 3-player version of it, knock yourself out, get yourself an identical pack of cards, maybe get a Sharpie and just like put an X through 2 through 10 on one of those. So there's your 5th suit, right? No problem at all. Don't have to worry about the Jack, Queen, Kings because they always stay out on the table. Those don't have to get folded into anything. That's our little DIY corner here. I would highly encourage you to buy it in a way that ensures the designer gets their money that they are entitled to. But if you just can't, I would recommend not paying $75 on the secondhand market and instead maybe just throwing a little deck together and waiting for the day when it actually comes out. Because I'll tell you something, when it comes out and you're able to get your hands on it, it'll be great. Oh no, I couldn't resist, and now they've found me. I gotta go. I gotta get on an airplane and buy a plane ticket. No, wait, I keep forgetting the order to do that. Laura, I've lost something. I've lost some things. Multiple things. Do you think you can help me?
That's crazy because usually I'm the one losing things and you know where they are.
Yeah, can we skip past that part where you go, oh, ho, 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 the tables have turned? You just help me find what I'm looking for. So it's not my car keys. I got those. It's not my wallet or my phone.
Ooh.
Yeah, what else does a person need? I don't know, but maybe you can help me.
Is it your pants?
Okay, I've lost two things. One is that, and the other is a whole bunch of other things. Collectively, maybe you've seen them. They're a group of cities.
You've lost your city?
I've lost my city. I've lost cities.
So these items that we're talking about would be your lost cities.
They'd be my lost cities, and I need to find them. I bet you that I can find them before you do, though. What do you think?
I bet that I can have more of the higher numbers.
Oh my goodness. That's it. I'm pulling the ripcord on this bit. We're done. Here we go. Awkward transition to Lost Cities. Lost Cities. Dun da 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 da. It is this is a stalwart game. It's a venerable game. You know.
Those were a couple of good words, Paul.
Thanks. I've been eating my dictionaries. You know it's a good game when they tell you how many copies have sold on the box. And this game has sold more than 260,000 copies. While I do find that a strangely specific number.
Indeed.
That's nothing to sneeze at all. So Lost Cities, it must have sold 260,000 copies for a reason. And we've brought it here to our table to talk about today. What's in the box? This is a new edition. Cool new high impact font. Anyone who might remember the old version, it's a little dusty. A couple of the explorers kind of standing there in front of a pyramid, kind of a static shot. At the time it was hand painted, but we got this new box.
It shimmers with excitement.
It does. Look at this. Look how much excitement he's having staring at that map. What's inside the box?
Large format cards.
Yeah.
In, dare I say, jewel hues again.
You dare. These big tarot-sized cards. They come in 5 flavors, although this new version does have a 6th flavor, a delicious, juicy purple that we have not played with yet, but you can add it into your game. But for us, the classic 5 flavors is all we need. You've got some cards. They come in these 5 colors. They come in 2 through 10, and then every color also has 3 little handshake cards. And the object is to play as many cards of a given color from 2 to 10 in climbing order to get mega points. We got to be able to score over the threshold in that color. Otherwise, those cities will get lost again and you'll never find them.
And the threshold is 20 points. And your points are just from the numbers on the cards that you've played. And you might think, well, 20 points isn't...
That's real easy.
But all right, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's like a 10 and a 9 and anything else, right?
Yep.
Aha. But if you're starting on, because you have to start small and work up.
Yes.
If you're starting with a 2,
yeah,
that 20 is very far away.
It sure is. And starting with a 9 is bad. Because
you'll never get there.
You'll never get to you play an 8? No, can't play an 8. You got to go 9, you got to go 10, and that's it. You're a point in the hole after just those 2 cards, and you can't climb any further out.
So let's lay out the specifics of how the game is played. As far as initial setup, you have this board in between you and your opponent.
Ah, I see.
Not to be confused with your partner. Those are different roles
It could
in
be
your
both.
life.
Yeah.
In this case, it's both. But you've got this board in the middle that tells you where to play the certain colors. So when you're playing with the 5-color version, the shorter game, you've got gold, silver, blue, green, red. If you flip it over, there's also a purple one as well.
Yeah.
And you've got a draw pile with all those cards that we mentioned, 2 through 10 of every color, plus 3 handshake cards in every color as well. At the beginning of the game, each of you is dealt 8 cards, and then the rest of it is a draw stack. So everything will come out.
Yep.
Sooner or later.
Card counters. Card counters love this game.
And it's very simple. You just play a card, draw a card. Play a card, draw a card.
Can I
Play
draw
a
the card I just played?
When you play a card, you can
Yeah.
play to your side,
Okay.
meaning you got to play under one of these color squares on the middle board here, according to the color card that you play.
Can I put a red and a green?
According to the color that you play.
Okay, good.
So no.
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 Okay, whew. Let me mark that off.
Or you can discard to the actual board itself, and then you draw. When you draw, you can either draw from the as of yet unseen deck,
Yeah, secrets.
or you can draw one of the visible discard piles in the middle on the board.
So you put down that 8 that I'm looking for. I can just take it.
Yes. You cannot discard and then pick up the same card to stall.
Oh. Well, what if I want to?
It's not sportsmanlike and it's against the rules.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
So that's it. When you play to your side, you play to the board. When you draw from the board or you draw from the draw pile.
And that's it.
Seems so simple.
It's very simple. It's a very simple game. Very easy to lose. Because you say, oh yeah, sure. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start those greens right now. I'm surely going to get an 8, 9, or a 10 by the end of the game. And then you don't. Especially if you've thrown a couple of handshakes in there. We haven't talked about the handshakes yet.
Yeah, what are handshakes, Paul?
Handshakes are things you put down before you start putting down any numbers. The first handshake you put down for a color, that doubles your total. The next handshake you put down, that'll triple your total, and the next one will quadruple your total.
What?
But here's the thing, even if your total is negative, it'll still get double, tripled, or quadrupled. So if you put down 3 handshakes thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to get over 20 points in that color, easy, and then you don't, you end up with minus 5 points, you've done double, triple, quadruple, you're 20 points in the hole, even though you've put a bunch of cards in there. You dummy. Don't do that.
Unforgiving game.
Yeah. But it's great. I like it a lot. There's a reason it sold 200 and... Oh, sorry, the number on this box just changed. It now says 270,000 copies sold. Man, that's some crazy technology they have. I told you this box was new. It's a new edition. There's a reason it sold so many copies. It's a good game. It's one of Herr Doctor. Is that how you say it?
That's what we've been saying, yes.
Herr Dr. Knizia. It's one of his earliest games, I believe. And there's a reason everyone mentions it in their list of great 2-player games. I think it's been long enough to where it might not be in people's top 10 anymore, but it's definitely, if you don't have any games in your collection, especially you don't have any 2-player games, or you're looking for that really good one, you could do a lot worse than Lost Cities. I like it. I like it a lot. And I'm sure Laura likes it a lot too.
I do like it a lot.
Oh, really?
But boy, oh boy.
There's some F-bombs coming out when we were not recording.
So this game took me several rounds to be competent at. Several. Maybe many, even.
Isn't that...
What's a step up from that?
Isn't a butt ton.
Maybe even a butt ton. There was a lot of trial and error on this one for me. So one of the things that I find very difficult about this game is the first few plays. So when you're looking at your hand of 8 cards, if you happen to have 20 points of anything, you are extremely lucky. It's unlikely to happen.
Yep.
So you have to take a look at these cards that you have and figure out if you're going to play to your side of the board, then you're already making a commitment about what you're going to try to do. And it's so tough to do because you either have to start with a handshake, meaning you're now betting on succeeding with that, or you start with, maybe a low number because maybe you've got a high number of that same color. So you just hope to fill in the gaps there.
Yeah.
But you don't get the handshake. The handshake has to come first.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it's so tough. And you also, don't really want to discard something that might be a super convenient launching point for your opponent. It's tough. The first few commitments that you make are really nail biters.
Yep. I like to call them the clenchers, because you go, oh, okay, I'll put down 2 handshakes in a color that I have a 6 and a 7 in, because maybe I could just find an 8 or a 9 and maybe it won't be so bad.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
But I also, one of the reasons why I kept losing in the first several was that I was loath to commit. And I ended up putting a lot more of my plays into the middle, not only giving them to you, I mean that, yes, but also just not committing them for myself, not getting any points for myself.
Yeah. Fear of commitment is definitely something that plagues a lot of people. But this game can definitely help you get over it, because you just got to suck it up. Just suck it up.
It's
and
a
commit.
therapy game, folks.
Yeah. There's a reason 290,000 people really like playing it.
Yeah. It ultimately is a very, very good game.
Yeah.
And it always feels great when you hit a stride towards the middle of the game where you know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
You don't have to fret. Your opponent has already committed to a few colors, so you can casually and comfortably discard the lower numbers that they've already surpassed.
You just put it into fourth gear and you're just cruising.
Yeah, it's great. But then you get to the end, and I would recommend that
it's bumpy again.
Our dear listener does the same thing that you do when we play this game, which is to fan out the remaining draw cards.
So you can see how many are left.
Yeah. It makes a big difference, because as you get to the end of the game, then your strategy transitions to what cards do I still need to get out so that I can hit that 20 number.
That decision point is actually an interesting one. When do I transition from moving the game along to, hitting the brakes so that I can get the rest of my cards out?
Mm-hmm. Because drawing from the middle hits the brakes, since the draw pile is the timer on the game. When that last card is drawn,
game's over.
Immediately.
Done. Cities that are going to be found, they're now found. And any cities that aren't found are lost again in space.
I think the thing that really helped for me in becoming better at this game was when you told me to, first of all, stop discarding so much stuff to the middle and to basically...
I shouldn't have said that, by the way. I should have just kept that going.
I won one time, dear listener.
Possible.
I won one time since he said this. It's not like this was a major shift in our gameplay, but it did end up making it ultimately a pretty big difference, because I started treating, per your suggestion, one of my own color stacks effectively as my discard pile.
Yeah.
To, yes, aim for getting 20 points, but also not putting down a bunch of handshakes where I really want to, grab at every possible one of those I can. I just need to hit 20 points.
That's it. Yep. Just get that discard color, the useless color, get that up to 20. You can break even, as long as you're doing something else useful with those turns that you're spending, putting that stuff into that pile. It's not going to get you any points.
Yep.
Lost Cities. I think we both like it. What do we think? Is it another one that we keep on our shelf? Is it a venerable one? Do we keep it forever? Or is it one of these that we like it, we play it until we're both kind of lost cities out and we need to clear the space off, give it to a friend or sell it?
No, I think this one's a keeper.
Okay, great. Well, then back on the shelf it goes. We will join the legion of 350,000 people who have purchased this game since it came out. It's great. Lost Cities, go ahead and buy it. Can't go wrong. Previously on Two Most Difficult.
There will be no further attempts at any kind of Scottish accent. It'll be great! It'll be great! It'll be great!
Well, Laura, here we are again. Another day. Another apology that I owe some wronged individual.
Oh dear. What is it this time?
Well, and by individual, I mean the entire region of Scotland. Again, for the egregious imitation.
Egregious.
Don't see, now you get to do it, but I don't. But I'm not bitter about it, because I've learned. I've learned the errors of my ways. I will not attempt a Scottish accent again. despite the fact that once again the fates are tempting us with another game from Herr Dr. Rainer Knizia called Schotten Totten.
Well, fortunately, Schotten Totten is actually German, even though there is another kilted man on the packaging.
Achtung, baby.
So perhaps you'd like to try your German accent. It would be appropriate.
Yeah, my German. A little German. Surely nobody will be offended by this.
Apology coming later. So, Schotten Totten,
Yeah.
I had to look this up, means,
Yeah.
well, the Scots. Schotten is the German word for the Scots.
Okay.
And Totten is kind of like chaos.
Chaos.
Scottish chaos. Let's go with that.
That's that sums this game up pretty well.
I think it does too.
Schotten Totten, as I said, by Rainer Knizia, with delightful art by someone who goes only by the name Jib. I'm sure that is pronounced some way. I have no idea where to even start.
I'm sure it's pronounced some way as well.
Jib or Dieb or Dib. Maybe the J is silent. I don't know. That's an interesting name. That is what we are talking about now. Schotten Totten.
Not how to pronounce
Not
DJIB.
DJIB. I'm sure Jib is a very nice person. Jib makes
Certainly a talented artist.
Very good art, because this is definitely some chaotic Scots, I think. What is this game about? We've been rambling for about 10 and a half minutes now. So what's this game about, Laura?
This game is about having the better mini poker hand
Yeah.
on your side of the
Battlefield.
Yeah.
And the battlefield is made up of exactly 9 stones. No more, no fewer. And we are fighting over these stones. These are my stones. You don't get to have them.
And how do you win the stones, Paul?
Well, you have a hand of 6 cards. And from that hand of cards, you will pick a stone, put a card there on your side of that stone, and you then draw a card from the deck. And you keep doing that over and over again until a stone has 3 cards on both sides of it. And then you compare those 3 cards, and there's a hierarchy of poker hands. You've got from strongest to weakest, you've got your
Straight flush, your set of 3,
yeah,
your flush, just
Yep.
all the same color,
Yeah.
whatever the total is, your straight, and then basically high card, except that it's adding up 3 cards.
yeah, some of your cards. You almost never get to that. Maybe 1 or 2, but most of the time you're angling for those straight flushes or those 3 of a kind. That is the game. When you claim a stone, you move it over to your side. It's possible to claim a stone if you can make the case that like there's no way you can beat it. But typically you don't do that until the very, very, very end, till the very near end.
When enough other cards are revealed.
Yeah.
So unlike Haggis,
Yeah.
all of the cards will come out.
Yep.
So-
Every single one.
Yeah, so you do get to the end, and you know exactly what your opponent has, and you know you're definitely not going to make that set of 3 4s
Yep.
because it's not in your hand, so you know where it is.
Yep. Yep. So you have this kind of gentleman's agreement that you do near the end where you say, tell you what, I can't win this. You can't win that. Let's just save these last 5 minutes of hemming and hawing.
These painstaking last few steps,
Yep.
yes.
So that's it. If you win the majority of the stones, you win the game. Most of our games are 5 to 4. I don't know if we've ever had like a 6 to 3 or anything like that. It's almost always 5 to 4.
Yeah.
A second victory condition that I've never seen happen, but I suspect is in there just as a kind of a, hey, dummy, don't let your opponent do this condition is if you capture 3 stones adjacent to each other. 1, 2, 3. We've never even come close to that.
Certainly not unless it was also part of the normal wrapping up at the end anyway.
Yep. I enjoy it. I think it's really tense. It has definitely like a poker feel without the betting, but just keep it close to your vest. Don't let your opponent know what you've got in your hand. Don't play anything where it doesn't absolutely need to go. Because if your opponent knows that you've got a color run going somewhere, they're not even going to try to put anything in there. But if you can see that they've put 2 9s somewhere and you've got a color run, a straight flush,
That's where it goes.
That's where it's going. Definitely there's a lot of poking and tap dancing and kneeling until finally everything just starts coming out. Boom, 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 boom. And then you count it up.
So like Lost Cities,
Yeah.
it's a very simple play a card, draw a card,
Yeah.
play a card, draw a card, very simple order of events.
Yep.
And like Lost Cities, you start by looking at your hand and thinking, what the heck am I going to do about this?
Yeah.
And now I've got to start committing things. Unlike Lost Cities, there's not a discard pile that you can contribute to.
No.
If you're playing a card, you're contributing it to one of those stones that you're trying to win.
Yep.
So inevitably, you're going to have a trash stack or two.
Yep.
Definitely part of the game, as Paul said, is not tipping your hand,
Yeah.
not letting your opponent know if it's a color run that you're going for, or just a run or a flush or anything. Just not really revealing too much if possible. But you also don't want to take up all 9 fields right away,
No.
because sometimes you want to hang on to some things in your hands and just see if you get that third card that makes what's in your hand unbeatable.
I bet you I can get that 9 in the next, 4 cards? Oh, maybe not. Now what do I do? That's it. That's Schotten Totten. It's quick. It comes in this tiny little box from, I don't know if it's Aiello or Yellow or Iello. It's Aiello Publishing.
So many pronunciation questions in this one little box.
I really should have done my research. Just consider that added value to the cost of this game. A little extra puzzle, a little extra research puzzle for you. And it has been printed many, many, many times. The oldest version I can think of was a game called Battle Line. I think you can still buy Battle Line with kind of some old Roman battle line, spears and shields kind of thing. The thing about Schotten Totten is that it also comes with these 10 tactic cards. Tactic cards, little special abilities you can play with if you want to play with that variant. Instead of 6 cards, everyone has a hand of 7, but there's a second deck with 10 of these tactic cards, things like wild cards and moving other cards around and taking cards from your opponent and banishing cards of your opponents and that kind of stuff. We played a couple of games with these tactic cards. What did we think?
We don't love it.
No.
And not because it wasn't very fun to ruin your color run.
Right. Yeah. Oh, man.
Or even better, to be able to steal one of your cards to make my own color run.
Just go get the salt shaker and just rub it right in there.
Yeah, it's fun, but it will just throw a complete wrench in any plans.
So much more stuff to account for, and it just creates such a large decision space for a game that really doesn't warrant it.
Yeah, it really ground to a bit of a halt for us kind of midway through the game as we were working out what we were going to do. It's just too much of the Scottish chaos.
Too much of you can't predict it. You don't know what's going to happen. Someone's going to get up there and be like, nope, you thought I was going to do it. You thought I was going to do some barbarian Scottish war chant or something and make an idiot of myself again. Not this time. But the base game is great. It does not take a lot of room on the shelf. That seems to be the theme for our games this episode. I think we're going to keep it. It's right there. Boop.
Yep, definitely my favorite of these 3. It brings the best of Lost Cities
and Haggis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The only problem I have with it is that it does take up a little bit of space for such a tiny game because you got to lay out all 9 of those stones. So, you're not going to be playing it on an airplane like you would Escape Plan or something like that. But for the price, it can't be beat. For the time you invest in it can't be beat. And for the decisions per minute of gameplay, it's hard to beat. Schotten Totten, Scottish Chaos. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to my bunker because I'm not sure the Scottish accent police have stopped looking for me yet. Gotta go!
Previously on Two Most Difficult.
And that is what we are here to oh God, I've gone Russian. I've gone Russian.
Such an easy slip.
Oh.
Paul, I'm over here, Paul.
Oh, yeah. Good, you made it.
Paul, why are we here in the secret Wegmans parking lot, and why don't you even have any groceries?
I can't be here, but I gotta be here because I gotta tell you, I don't trust Rob.
Rob. Again with Rob. Why?
I don't trust. I think he might be a spy. I ditched the Scottish accent police, but now the Russian accent police are after me, and I think he might be a spy.
Because you think he turned you in?
I think they could show up at any minute, and I don't know what to do. How can I find out if someone's a spy? And if so, how can I be a better spy than them?
Well, it sounds to me like you need to have a spy off.
Ooh, a duel of spies. Okay, what do I got to do?
Well, I think that maybe if you take these cards and basically play like a blackjack game against Rob, maybe you would find out who the real spy is by which one of you can take more USB sticks and codes and barmaids.
Wait a minute. I don't understand. Find out who the real spy is. Are you saying that I could be the spy and I don't even know it? And I could learn that by playing a blackjack game? We'll find out in Kompromat, Duel of Spies by Adam Porter and Rob Fisher.
Rob.
Different Rob. These Robs. They all stick together. It's unfair. Artwork by Felix Kindelan. And there's one of those, but the A in Kindelan has one of those, what do they call that? Agave? Agrepo? The accent over the A.
Egu?
What's the other one?
Grav.
There you go. So it's the Egu over the A, Kindelan. And then published by Helvetic Games. Kompromat, Duel of Spies. It is a game about spy versus spy. Trying to figure out who the best spy is. Russian to grab that secret intelligence.
Russian to grab.
Pun very intended. Da. And the best way to resolve this spy conflict, this duel of spies, is through competing blackjack hands. It's a simple little, I would almost call, I guess it's a climbing game, kind of, in that blackjack itself is kind of a climbing game, but don't climb too much, or you'll go bust. And it also has a little bit of that Schotten Totten flavor to it, where you're competing over things. Instead of 9 stones, you're competing over 4 pieces of cool intelligence, sweet intelligence, useful intelligence, Scottish intelligence.
No, there's none of that in this one.
Hold on, that's mean.
Fortunately,
you've got an apology. You've got an apology coming to the Scottish people, I think. Let's talk a little bit about how it plays.
Yeah, so I think you laid it out pretty well there when you mentioned that you're fighting over these cards that are set up at the beginning of each round, of which there are 6 between you and your opponent. So
laid out right in the middle of the table.
Yep, just like Schotten Totten.
The Schotten Tottens with the stones.
Mm-hmm. Also, I mean, very similar to lots of the games we've reviewed actually in this episode. So in this case, we've got a draw deck. Yeah. So they are 4 random things from the top of the deck. They basically fall into 3 different categories. You have items, which are worth 1 point, and then also have a special ability.
Like a one-time use.
Mm-hmm. Except for the one that says that you can use anything a second time.
Sure.
Yeah. Then there's also a little set collection piece. So
you got the
cards
code.
That are the code and the
documents
that are part of a set collection.
Yep. You get one of them, that's like 2 points, but if by the end of the game you got 3 of them, that's a whopping 12.
Mm-hmm. And the third category is basically just straight points, more than 1 point. It's like 2 through 5, I think.
Yeah.
And there are things like, the barmaid, the pursuit.
Yeah.
Things people, like places, and things, maybe.
Just straight up points. Nothing fancy about it.
Yep. So, and then each player has their own deck of cards, which is 2 through 10, plus 2 basically aces. They're worth 1 or 11 points, and a 0.5. And I think there are 3 sevens.
Yeah, 3 sevens in there too.
Yep. And what you'll be doing is playing a little game of blackjack on each side of the card. And whoever gets closer to 21 without busting wins that card. You will always draw straight from the top of your deck. You will have to reveal the first one that you draw when you choose which card you want to play it to. And the decide whether or not you want to keep drawing. So
Yep.
when you play your first card face up, everybody knows what that is. Your next cards are secret for only you.
First card going down, I'm going to, it's a 4, and I'm going to assign it to the barmaid. Boom. There you go.
And then obviously you would choose to draw again because it's a 4.
Yeah. Unless I was really bad at blackjack, which I am, but not that bad.
And then any other draws you have would be private to you, including if you bust. As soon as you make the decision to draw, you must play that card.
Yeah. Can't look at it and go, no, wait, I changed my mind. No, as soon as you draw that top card and look at it, you have to play it to where in this example, where you put that 4. And so then you just keep making that decision. Do I hit myself or do I pass? And then, if you bust, you have to keep that poker face, that blackjack face, that Kompromat face, and put that busted card down and then pass, as if you didn't just ruin your shot with the barmaid.
Mm-hmm. And that is important that you don't reveal it with your face, because...
Or any part of your body, really. No stamping your feet, snapping your hands, gnashing of teeth.
Mm-hmm. As one does. You'd be a terrible poker player. So...
I am, but not for that reason.
It is important that you don't reveal it, though, because especially if you've played somewhere where your opponent has yet to play, they could come in behind you and be like, I'm pretty sure that you busted because I saw that flying snaps thing you were doing, and I'm just going to stop at 4.
Yeah.
So, but the other part of it is there's a bit of card counting, because you know exactly what your hand contains in total, and sometimes you will go through your whole deck and you'll know exactly what's left. Sometimes you will have 5 cards left and you'll know that 3 of them will bust you, but 2 of them won't. Do you draw?
I could look in the rules right here and see how much of it is allowed. Like, can you look at the stuff you've already put down? But those kinds of things I find are things you can adapt and house rule when you're just playing with someone else. You mentioned that you don't want to bust. Now, I disagree, because I don't know about you, but busting makes me feel good. In this game, though, you don't want to bust, because if you do, you gain a notoriety token. And those are these little exclamation marks on these black tokens here. By themselves, at the end of the game, they'll give you 1 point. That's fun, right? But if you ever get 9 or more of them, you immediately lose the game. So you don't want to get too many of them, so you don't want to bust too much. And there's another way you can get them as well. There's a 5th type of card we didn't tell you about.
Bum, bum.
Dear listener, it's a twist. Buried in that deck of cards that you're fighting over, there's also counterintelligence cards. And when those come out, they get put down, and the next, what the game calls mission card to come out, sits right on top of that. I'm looking at a couple of counterintelligence cards. Here's one with 2 notoriety symbols on it, which means the next mission card that come out of that deck gets put on top of that. Yeah, sure, you might win that mission card, but you also get 2 notoriety symbols with it. So is it really worth trying to really actually win the barmaid for 2 points if it's going to come with 2 notoriety symbols too? I don't know. That's an exercise best left to the dear listener. But if you manage to come in at just under the 9 at the end of the game, ideally you want 8. You want to get right to the 8 and then stop.
For maximum points.
Indeed. And I have yet to do that. Also, we have yet to actually lose by getting 9 of these. It's you kind of have to really screw up to get 9. So the only way you'd probably end up with 9 is if you fly too close to the sun and try to get those 7 or 8 and then just push it. But there's items that can let you remove some. If you manage to hit 21 exactly on one of those mission cards when you reveal at the end, when everyone turns over to see what you actually played, if you hit 21, then you can choose to get rid of one of your notoriety tokens if you want. But that's never really been something in our game. Really what it comes down to is who's getting these mission cards, really who's getting those sets, the code and the documents. You really don't want to let your opponent get those. But at the end of the round, you reveal your cards going down the line from mission card to mission card. Reveal the cards on each side of this one. Compare it, see who gets it. Now you turn over the cards in this one. Compare them, see who gets it. Until you've gone through all 4. Then you deal out another set of 4 mission cards and do it all over again. You do that a total of 6 times, and then whoever has the most points at the end wins. What do we think?
So I'm going to start with a few things that I like about it.
Okay. And then just start swearing up a storm. Should I have my finger on the button?
The truth is I don't have that strong feelings about this game.
Okay.
But here are some things that I like about it. And
Sure.
then I will share some things that I don't like about it.
Yeah.
And they'll all be pretty
Mild.
temperate. Yeah. So things that I like about it include very strong aesthetic.
Yeah. A great art style.
Yep. It's all blue, orange, black and white, very graphic, good design.
Yeah.
Just looks sharp. I also like the little bit of a twist on a classic blackjack with the 0.5 in there is really fun.
Yep, you could be like, I'm at 17. Oh, she's at 17.5. Yeah.
Yeah, so that part's fun. I like the special abilities and the minor amount of chaos that they can bring into the mix.
Yeah, you chaosed the heck out of me a couple of times.
And I still lost. So like here's some examples of things that you can do with these 1-point item cards.
Yeah.
There's one called the GPS tracker, which says return your last drawn card to the top of your deck, even if you busted. Then there's the newspaper. Place this card on one of your opponent's unrevealed missions to add +3 to the total for that mission. Great.
That's great.
Yeah, pretty sure that your smug opponent there has just hit 19 or something pretty sweet. Or 21, even better to steal that.
Yeah.
What else we got here? Oh, the drone. I like this one too. Reveal all of your opponent's cards from one mission. So when you see somebody kind of laying out there and really thinking about whether or not they want to choose another card, and you just dying to know that one that they decided to go for busted them or not. Great opportunity. So then you know when you need to stop, when you go to approach it yourself. So lots of fun things you can do with the items.
Yeah, the items are great. They do add that chaos. Man, if you forget about them, it can really just punch you right in the gut. Oh, no. I forgot that she had that newspaper.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend when you're playing this for the first time that you read aloud what all of the abilities are as they are laid out in the middle of the table so that when somebody does get the one that adds 3 to your total, you're at least aware that that's something that might happen to you.
Yeah. You covered all the things I like as well. The art is sharp. The items are interesting, and they do fun things and add that little bit of chaos. But what I want to say about this game, my main issue with it is that I don't feel like I'm dueling you. I feel like I'm playing 4 individual blackjack hands with the same deck, hoping that I get as high as possible on all 4 of them. At no point in the games that we played did I ever look across the table and say, she's got a 4 with 2 cards there. Let me math it out real quick and find out what her minimum and her maximum are. I mean, maybe I could have, but we would have been sitting here for 2 hours playing this little game, and I'm not going to do that. That's not fun. It's not fun for me, not fun for you. It's not fun for, well, I guess it's just me and you and the cat. But that's the biggest hang up I have with the game is that I don't really feel like we're dueling. I feel like Schotten Totten, we are definitely dueling. We are definitely fighting it out over these stones, and any stone you get is a victory. Whereas in this game, it's very easy to just get all 4 missions. Well, maybe not that easy. You'd have to be pretty bad to bust all 4 times.
I've done the calculations, and it is mathematically impossible for anyone to bust on all 4 missions. Even you, Paul.
But I wasn't really feeling that I had outplayed you. I felt like I had just gotten lucky.
So you're saying your win wasn't as satisfying, and that's one of the reasons that you don't like this game?
I'm saying that if I can't feel like I have bested you mentally, then I'm not interested. Yeah, maybe that's what I'm saying. Anyway, it's cute. It's nice. It's got a nice, sharp art style. And if you really, really like blackjack, then maybe that counts for something. But for me, I don't really think it's something that if we're itching to play a 2-player game that I'm going to bust out. It's the exact same box size as these other games we've been playing, and I'm much more likely to want to play something like that. How does that sound to you?
I think you summed up perfectly well exactly what I would say about my criticisms of this game.
Yeah. Well, that's Kompromat. We've had enough people walking by us here in this secret Wegmans parking lot wondering what the heck we're doing. But hey, at least I think I've gotten away from the Russian accent police. I think I'm finally in the clear. Pretty much nothing can ruin my day now. Previously on Two Most Difficult.
A little German. Surely nobody will be offended by this.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll see you in a Home Depot parking lot somewhere. Once I go move in with Anne. Hopefully she's not a German spy. Well, Laura, I think this is a first, a Two Most Difficult first. We are recording this segment of the show from a Home Depot parking lot out here in
The place where we live.
Suburban Massachusetts. It's weird. Don't worry about it. You hear the sound of nail guns in the background. It's
As you do in the
Home Depot parking lot.
In the parking lot of Home Depot. Yep.
Yeah. But we've done it. I think we've established that anything you can do, I can do better.
With these games, I think that is unfortunately for me, by and large, the truth.
Yeah, we could on a list of top 10 episodes of Two Most Difficult. I think this one's gonna be right up there, because it definitely features games that I think I'm better than you at, which is such sweet vindication.
I'm just glad we contained it all into one episode, so I never have to experience the shame again.
Box it up and put it away. So those are our games, our climbing games, or our kind of our one-upmanships games. And this is the part where we would thank you for honoring us with your ears. But first, we must thank you for honoring us with your emails.
Yes, thank you for writing in to win our copy of Agricola.
You know, when we did this, I was like, no one's going to write in. And people wrote in. It was very nice of them.
And they wrote in really nice, thoughtful emails, which thank you so much. We really honestly enjoyed reading them aloud to each other.
Yeah.
And writing responses to you. So thank you again for listening, for telling us what you like about the show and offering some feedback. And also for taking our copy of Agricola.
Yeah, it has been mocking me for the last couple of weeks, staring at me from the shelf. So we took all the names of the people who sent us mails. We were going to put them into a hat, but we didn't have a hat. So I went out and I bought this stovepipe hat right here. So we're throwing them into this hat right now. And here I go. I'm rustling.
There's not really a hat.
Rustling. What are you doing? Why are you giving them a peek behind radio magic? They don't know that.
Is this the sound of a hat right now?
Rustle. Here we go. And we're drawing out a name. And the name that we have drawn out is one Joe K. Joe K sent us a very nice email. Keep up the great podcasting. It's already become my #1 board gaming podcast. And I realize now that people might think that might have influenced our decision. I guarantee you it did not. We drew that name out of this stovepipe hat, and there we go. Favorite episode, the one where you went over Fox in the Forest. I've been considering picking these up, and your review and opinions really hit on what I was looking for. Well, I'm hoping that what you were looking for was the outrageous comedy stylings of Paul and Laura, entertaining you while also informing you about games, because that is our mission statement.
I did think it was very interesting, actually, that Joe K did not mention whether or not he purchased, ultimately, Fox in the Forest. So I thought, were we helping you to decide that you feel the exact opposite that we do from games? And
it does say, I've been considering picking these up, and your review and opinions hit on what I was looking for. Yeah, maybe what you were looking for was not these games, and you decided not to get them. I don't know. I'm going to assume that Joe K did. That Joe K went out and bought both of them right away, because then that makes us influencers.
Which is everything we ever wanted to be.
We'll be taking selfies.
But, Joe, we really hope that you enjoy Agricola.
Yeah. We'll be reaching out to you. We will not rely on you necessarily to be hearing this episode right now to notify that you have won. By the time you hear this, you will have already been notified. Don't worry about it. We've got you covered. And so I think what we need to do now is close out the show. Unless, Laura, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
No, that face was just, let's close out the show face.
Great. Well, then I'm going to leave that part of this out. And I'm going to say we're going to close out the show and say, once again, dear listener,
Thank
you for honoring us with your ears. But the cat came back the very next day. The cat came back. We thought she was a goner, but the cat came back. She just wouldn't stay away.